1600 block West
I think,
Road.
you know what, I was gonna go by and take a picture, I have a picture of the truck.
We'll have Mike,
If you want to see the beautiful truck.
should I take a picture, but on the other issue, we'll have Mike Taylor's check that out.
Yeah, okay, Mike, yeah. And, you know, that's all. Okay?
Thank you. Any other comments? Burns?
Al Bernitas, 1004 Johnson Drive. I basically just wanted to give the council an update on what's happening with the Elias Market. You're probably aware of this, maybe some of the folks in the audience are not, so, but I will speak to the council about it. There was a, as you know, August 26th last year, we had a zoning hearing board meeting, and Elias Farmers Market was granted a variance to expand the market, okay? This is now August 17th today? All right, so it's a year. And because of that, they need to go to the planning commission with their site plan. So they're going on Thursday night. So I just want to let everybody know that's what's happening. Also, we have not heard back from the court on our appeal, and the appeal that you folks were so gracious to support us on. So what took 2 hours for the zoning hearing board to make a decision on, the courts have not been able to make a decision on in over 90 days. So I just want you to be aware of the fact. Planning Commission meeting Thursday night. We haven't heard from the appeals court yet. Frankly, the longer it goes on, the more we think it's going to be in our favor. I'm told it's a complex case, so therefore it's taking more than 90 days, which is the typical time that you would hear back from the appeals court. And so that's what's happening. So when we go to the zoning hearing board, that's one issue. Another quick issue is the fact, and I just want to make you aware of this. When we go to the zoning hearing board has a solicitor. Typically, the appellant has a solicitor. And typically, any objectors have no solicitor. They have no representation. We need to have an advocate for the public there, and it's not there. We only have 10 days notice, and yes, they go by the law with due process. 10 days notice to get 2 notices in the mail, public notice. They're not very elaborate. You do have time to go down to the zoning officer and look at the documentation that's going to be presented to the zoning hearing board. But typically, everyday folks like myself just get caught off guard. They don't know whether to bring an attorney or not. We need a public advocate. That's my second point. My third point, which I wasn't even planning to talk about tonight, is what this gentleman just talked about before me. I will tell you what the law is. The law is if the vehicle is over 20 feet long, it can't be parked there more than 72 hours, or you must move it onto another block for 2 hours. You can't bring it back to the same block. That's the law, okay? Why do I know that? Because ever since this started, I've been examining the laws about parking large vehicles on residential properties, parking them on the street and so forth, and in particular parking commercial vehicles in the residential neighborhoods. Now I know some residential neighborhoods don't have enough property parking, their lots are not big enough to accommodate parking of even one commercial vehicle. But in the RR district, for instance, I'm not sure what district this gentleman lives in, that was an issue that was bothering me, but I just figured there was nothing I could do about it. So he comes up and talks about it, and I tell you, it's an issue in the city. As a matter of fact, to the point where I think some of the districts should have maybe no parking of commercial vehicles, period, on the street. Period. I mean, I think that particular ordinance is antiquated. It needs to be changed to keep the quality of Bethlehem up. And I can say more about that at some other time and in writing, but this 3 days with a commercial vehicle or a vehicle over 20 feet, you move it for 2 hours. Now, I'm not sure what the original rationale was for that, but we need to look at that. We need to look at that. I'll bring that issue up again, and hopefully you will consider it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you. Any other comments? Steve?
Stephen Antalik, 737 Ridge. This evening, prior to the council meeting, I heard a very interesting program at NPR, All Things Considered, and I found it intriguing. And in California, a gentleman went before a city government, I think it was in Lee, California. It was Lee, California, and looked into salaries within the administration. And he was quite shocked by what happened, so it's created an uproar. there. Now, I don't think there's anything improper here, but a suggestion was made by the commentator who was covering the issue, and the commentator said objectively that it would be wise for taxpayers whose money was supporting these positions to know what they're being paid. So, and it was suggested that municipalities on their website publish position and salary, so that we know how our money is being spent. And I think that would probably be a very good thing to do now in the time of this budget area, the problems we're having with monies. So I would strongly urge whether council has the ability to enact legislation that there be a public record on the city's website as to the position and the salary. So since those monies come from us, the taxpayer, I'm not implying anything here, but I think this would make us as taxpayers satisfied that our money is being well spent and not being overspent. So, is that a possibility?
Steve, let me just say, we're all public employees, elected officials, and people that work for City Hall, and I'll ask the solicitor, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe salaries are all public information.
I'm talking about department heads and all the, now, how do you get it?
It's in the budget book?
Pardon?
It's in the budget book. The salaries are listed in the budget.
But does the average citizen have access to that budget?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In other words,
On the website. Is the whole budget online? Sorry.
okay.
The library and.
Right.
There's a line item for each specific position?
Yes.
Okay, well, I've just been educated, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Is that the lady in the back? Any other comments?
Try to reach my notes here. So my name is Leslie Holmes. I live in Bethlehem, West Bethlehem.
What's your address, please?
Last was 1909 Kingsley Drive. We moved there like 3 years ago. So I guess I'll read my prepared statement. This won't feel as improvisatory at the moment. I spoke like a few weeks ago about there seems to be like just some sort of issue happening. It's been going on maybe for a long time, depends on where you're at. I guess my life right now is a little bit split on one hand. I'm a software engineer, and I was in Washington last Wednesday to consult about maybe working for a company, government that does space exploration, so that was a big thing. And then on Monday, I'm like a community, do like a non-profit organizing, so started a website. Then Monday night, had a repeat police officer pick me up, a few hours after launch of the site, and kept me for an hour and a half detained. I guess I say I'm appalled, horrified. I guess it's sort of humorous. It's sort of humorous how many mistakes were made and procedural errors, etc. So it seems humorous how many made that. And reading, for instance, meditating for 4.5 hours and then accusing them of drunk and disorderly conduct, but then I used to read the whole thing. I had to say my breathalyzer 0.00. It took me an hour to get a breathalyzer because I said I invoked the right to remain silent. So he said actually I had to shut up since I invoked the right to remain silent. Just sort of horrifying and sad. I think kind of they should maybe raise the hiring standards for police to maybe have like an associate's degree in criminal justice, so they at least understand that there is a law, that it has a role in their job as police, that it has a role in society, that they're bound by the law to uphold the law. So that's what I was like thinking at the time. I guess I'm being very unfortunate there. It doesn't really seem all that fun anymore. No Miranda, handcuffs. the police site does mention community review of policing, but it's about a polite dialogue. Philadelphia had the first community review board for police in 1958, so it's a local idea, maybe from Quaker, I don't know. Rochester's the second in 53, 58, 63 maybe. And San Francisco and Berkeley, Oakland all have review boards. Houston's developing one. The 50 major metropolitan areas in America right now have review boards. And 50 other areas, I guess about 100 so far. But I guess when I very innocently proposed this, I was picked up for Allen House, so I guess they can be having a discussion about like how to get rid of like little snafus in the system that lead to gross miscarriage of justice. So, not very eloquent tonight, but concerned citizen.
Thank you. Any other comments? This meeting's adjourned.